This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24. Matthew 24, verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must first come to pass. Matthew 24 and verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem. Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakar Kadash, and the Heavenly Father. True name is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, Bahashem, in the name of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashon Kadash, the Holy Tongue. And I say Barak Thumb to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim, Wa'akwaf, and I say Shalom. And this is a sit down lesson of this recent news article that I want to bring out from Reuters.com. By Reuters as of November the 11th, 2025 at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, last updated 1 hour ago, and it reads, Venezuela's military prepares for a guerrilla response in case of a attack. And that comes with the tension been heating up ever since mid-August and all the way into now. So tension's really been heating up for the past 3.5 months, especially when you've had the Trump administration been using these drone missile strikes on these drug cartels that potentially entering drugs into the country in America. And then, tension's really been heating up down there in Latin America. So I just want to add a side note to that. And the tensions between the President Maduro versus the United States President of Donald Trump. It says summary. It says Venezuela's military lacks personnel and equipment. Troops earn low wages and use aging weaponry units. Instructed to despair and high upon tax sources say government could also seek to create disorder in the streets. It says November the 11th by Reuters, Venezuela is preparing a weapons include decades of old Russian-made equipment, and planning to mount a guerrilla-style resistance or sow chaos in the event of a U.S. air or ground attack. It says, according to the source, with acknowledge of the efforts, planning documents seen by Reuters, the approach is tactic emissions to the South American country, shortage of personnel and equipment. The U.S. president, it says the U.S. president suggests the possibility of ground operation in Venezuela, saying the land is going to be next, following multiple strikes on alleged drug trafficking vessels in Caribbean in a large U.S. military buildup in the region. He's later denied he was considering strikes inside Venezuela. It says Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro is in power since 2013. It says Trump is seeking to outlast him, in that Venezuela's citizens and the military will resist any such attempt. It says U.S. military large Venezuela, which deliberates the lack of training, low wage, and deteriorating equipment. 6 sources familiar with the Venezuela's military capability says some units commanders have been forced to negotiate with local food producers to feed their troops because government supplies fell short. 2 sources acknowledge of the state of security forces told Reuters. It says the reality of lead. Maduro's government has bet on 2 potential strategies, including a guerrilla-style response, referenced publicly through without details by the high-ranking officials. It says another, which officials have not acknowledged, creating an arcade in the streets. The guerrilla-style defense, which the government has termed prolonged resistance, and mentioned in broadcast in state televisions, would involve small units, more than 280 location, carry out acts of sabotage or other guerrilla tactics, according to the source. In several years of planning documents for the tactics been seen by rulers. It says the second strategic called the inarcherization would use an intelligence service and an armed ruling party supporting to create a disorder on the streets in the capital in the Caracas and make Venezuela's ungovernable for foreign forces, say one source, a knowledge of the defense efforts, and another source close to the oppositions. It says that it is unclear when the government might deploy each of the tactics which sources say are complementary in the case of a U.S. attack. It says any resistance strategy faces a long odds of success. The source acknowledged we shouldn't last 2 hours in a conventional war, said a source close to the government. Another source acknowledged it says another source with knowledge of defense and security inside Venezuela says that the country was not prepared for professionalism for a conflict despite the government assertions to the contrary. We are not ready to face one of the world's most powerful and well-trained armies, sources say. It says the communications ministers, which handles media and iniquity on behalf of the Venezuela's government and not responds. So, okay.
They're going down without a fight, that's the point.
Triple A.
Triple H. Yeah.
It says the government officials publicly dismissive of the U.S. military threat, though they have called for peace, and they think that what they bombing think will end everything here in the country. Scupple Interior Minister Lassa Caballero on a state television in early November, while Maduro has repeatedly praised the soldiers of the homeland and heirs of defense, independence hero Simeon Bolivar. The aggression will be responded to with national unity. Defense Ministry Vladimir Pondarino said on Tuesday, amidst the renewed military exercise around the country. We are ready here and we don't want war. Soldiers' salaries are low. Yep, so this was a long news article. As it says again, Venezuelans military preparing for a guerrilla response in the case of a U.S. attack. Right, just in case they come under a U.S. attack. But we definitely been seeing for the past 2.5 to 3 months now, since it's been really been heating up between the United States and Venezuelan armies, which they got on standby. So if the case they gonna come under enemy attack from the United States, they're gonna use a guerrilla tactic warfare against the United States Army. So these are signs of wars and rumors of wars. I'm gonna read that again. This is Matthew 24 and verse 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right, these are wars and rumors of wars. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must first come to pass, but then it's not yet. Matthew 24 and verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Right, this is what you call nation shall rise against nation and wars and rumors of wars. As it says again, Venezuela military prepared for a guerrilla response in case of a U.S. attack. Right, so these what you call wars and rumors of wars. Matthew 24 verse 6 once again, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right, and that's what we're hearing on an everyday basis, wars and rumors of wars. So tensions are really stirring up down there in South America, Latin America. United States armies on standby, going against the Venezuelan armies on standby. And then you got the United States using drone strike attacks against those drug traffickings, drug cartels that's entering drug substance into the country here in America. And then you've been having an ongoing tension between the President Maduro and the President of the United States, right along with the President of Cuba, accusing the United States for potentially killing innocent civilians on a boat incident with the drone strikes that the United States been using to tackle drug trafficking and drug smugglers into the country. It says you should hear awards or rumors of wars, right? Because you recently had the president of Trinidad call out the United States, and then you had the president of Colombia calling out the United States in War II. With that recent strike happened in September of that boat incident of strikes down there, Latin America. So these, and then you had I think a United States warship was over there sailing through Trinidad like a couple of weeks ago, last time I checked. And then you've been having military exercise drills down there in the Caribbean Sea from the United States armies and the Venezuelan armies. And then you've been having military F-16 jets. 10 that was deployed as of September 7th down there in Puerto Rico. And then I believe you had one of the representatives of the Trump administration went down there to Ecuador of a potential of a military deployment over there in Ecuador. So it's really, so tensions are definitely heating up down there in South America, you know. So these are signs of wars and rumors of wars. It says, ye should hear wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not trouble for all these things must first come to pass, but then it's not yet. And then there was a news article, I believe, like last week, that Russia and China potentially might help Venezuelans to give them more military equipment with the ongoing tension they have against the United States armies, which they deployed some ships down there. I would say like in September and October as well too, in early November. So that shows that the tensions are really heating up down there in Latin America, South America. Ye should hear wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not trouble for all these things must first come to pass, but it's not yet. Right, so it's going to continue to increase. Now, we understand it's going to come to pass, but they're not going to end just yet. Matthew 24, verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, which goes to ethnos, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. So with that, hopefully this sit down lesson was edifying. Other recent news article as the tensions are heating up down there in South America, while you had the United States soldiers on standby versus the Venezuelan soldiers on standby as well too, just in case they come on an enemy attack deeper inside Venezuela. Potentially, you're gonna have the military Venezuela preparing for a guerrilla response in case of a U.S. attack. So these are wars and rumors of wars. So with that, I'd like to give all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Kakadash, and the Heavenly Father. True name is Yahweh, and His unbegotten Son Ba'Shem. In the names of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashmark, Kadash, the Holy Tongue. And I say Barak to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim Wa'akwaf. Until next time, I would say Shalom.